out, Larry.
Seems like Fred needs to go first. He needs to set the stage.
Maybe it's Fred now.
Wow. You know, our family tree, it just keeps getting bigger. And, you know, the branches on it aren't uniform. But but we keep adding it's kind of like spiral branches to our family tree. And, you know, it seems like every time we do, it's like hitting the lottery. You know what I mean? We gained, like this time, I just gained a daughter-in-law. And I just gained, whether they like it or not, Ryan and Austin. Believe it or not, you're my grandkids, man. Sorry, Larry. Hey, Larry, and Mary, sorry. And you know whose fault this all was that started this whole thing? Nicole started this whole thing. But our family tree is kind of like a Charlie Brown on steroids. It just kind of goes everywhere. But anyway, I tell you, the funny thing is every time we add somebody else to the family, it's like I said, hitting a lottery. Everybody gets along. They really do treat the like brothers and sisters. You know, with Colin and my family, everybody's just like one big happy family. And you know, it's really a treat for me to do that. So thank you, Nicole, for that. And so anyway, when I first met Tammy, Colin was 13. Dalton? He was Dalton's age. Yeah, imagine that, Colin at Dalton's age. I got to take this out of here. Oh, I'm not. Okay. So anyway, so when I met Colin, he was 13, and a little bit wild and crazy, but. You know, from the time he was 13 until he got into high school, I got to watch Colin grow and do his sports and stuff. One of my most memorable times is when Colin was playing football. And I don't remember, do you intercept a pass or something at Riverside? And Colin marched into the end zone for a touchdown. And he got down on his hands and knees and did one of these. And Tam and I looked at each other, where'd that come from? So anyway, and then like a year after Tammy and I met or so, you know, a new relationship, we kind of abandoned Colin and turned him over to Daniel and Rochelle. Thank you, Daniel and Rochelle. They kind of took over, and then Colin went to work for Tom. And Tom kind of set him straight a little bit. He didn't let him get away with stuff, but in the meantime, Colin was just kind of doing what he wanted and when he wanted. And there was one day about 10 years ago, Colin was living with us, and I was helping a friend finish out his garage and make it a finished space. And I asked Colin, I said, Colin, why don't you come and help me? I've promised Brian that I would help him hang the drywall. So Colin came with me, and we hung that drywall. Remember that? And, you know, it was one of those things. Colin was kind of in limbo, what he wanted to do with his life, what he wanted to do with the job. And fortunately, Brian, one of my better friends, was half owner in Universal Refrigeration, and we hung the drywall, and Colin worked his ass off. And that was like the start of a new beginning. Brian called me like a week later, and he said, hey, you know, Colin, he really a hard worker. You think he'd want a job? And I said, hell yeah, he wants a job. He only got a job. And, you know, that was 10 years ago, and that was kind of a turning point in Colin's life. It really was. And a year later, Colin, the way he is, the hard-working person he is, in a year, less than a year, he had his own van. So now he's been with Universal for 10 years. So he's started his career. And then shortly after that, Colin was living with us, and we decided on a New Year's Eve about 9 years ago You remember? That we were going to go to Larry and Mary's place up in Cochise. Colin, why don't you come with us? Nah. No, really, you got to come with us. And that's, even though they had met before, that's when Tammy and Colin kind of reconnected. And then, and then, Colin became this free-spirited, doing whatever the hell I wanted when I wanted. Now he's becoming like a boyfriend, like a stepdad. He's got a couple of teenage kids, and he jumped into that, and that was a big undertaking. And sometimes when you go through life and you've got a challenge, you got to stop, at a speed bump. We go through speed bumps. You got to stop and regroup. Some speed bumps are big, some are small. This is a pretty big speed bump that they went through, and they stopped and regrouped and got around it, and now, look at them. Here we have. So anyway, so proud of you two. I know that the rest of your life is going to be perfect. And I feel so fortunate to have gained another group of our tree branches, and for you and both of you, I love you so much. I just can't say how much I'm proud of you. And look out, world! Here comes Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter. Seriously, thank you. I love you.